All right, for this extension, we're going to be looking at estimating roots. So we are looking at square roots, and we're going to estimate square roots of numbers that when you find the square root, you don't get a whole number. In order to estimate that, we're going to use what we call perfect squares. So the square of every whole number gives us perfect squares because we know that if we found the square root of them, we will get a whole number, not a decimal. So we have those listed all the way up through 30. So we're going to use that to estimate when we have numbers that won't give us a whole number square root. So for example, 29 is not listed on here as our perfect squares, which means if we found the square root of that, we would not get a whole number. So what we are going to do with that is we have to figure out what values the square root or 29 falls between, what perfect squares. So 29 falls between the perfect square of 25 and the perfect square of 36. So I'm going to write here, it's falling between the square root of 25 and the square root of 36. And then I am then listing that, well, I know, and I can use this chart, that the square root of 25 is 5. And I know that the square root of 36 is 6. So what that tells me is that the square root of 29 falls somewhere between the two numbers 5 and 6. So then what I got to think about is I know that it's going to be a whole number value of 5. And then my decimal value, I'm going to look at 29. 29 is less than halfway between 25 and 36 because the halfway point of 25 and 36 would be at 30.5. So I know that it's less than 5.5, but it's pretty close to it. So my guess would be 5.4. And I put a little squiggly equal sign to show that it's not exactly 5.4. It's about, we're making a guess. So let's look at it for this next example. We've got 114. If I look up here, 114 is falling between 100 and 121. So I'm going to list out my square root of 100 and my square root of 121. And then I'm writing what those equal. So the square root of 100 is 10. The square root of 121 is 11. So I know my value needs to be somewhere in between these two numbers. I know that my whole number will be 10. I have to figure out what the decimal value should be close to. Again, I like to look for my halfway point between 100 and 121, which is going to be at 110.5. So I already know that 114 is higher than halfway, so it's going to be higher than 0.5. And it's not right next to 110.5. So maybe I'm not going to guess 110 points, or not going to guess 10.6. Maybe I'm going to guess around 10.7. If yours is off, if you guessed 10.6 or you guessed 10.8, that's fine. Guessing 10.1, that doesn't make sense. Now let's look at number 3. So 40 falls between 36 and 49. So square root of 36, square root of 49. Square root of 36 is 6. Square root of 49 is 7. So we know our decimal, our number is going to be 6 point something. I like to look at what's our halfway point between 36 and 49. That would be at 41.5. No, 42.5. 40 is less than that, so I know that it should be less than halfway. Maybe I guess around 4. It's not 6.5, it's close to 6.4. I'm going to put my squigglies to show that it's about that. All right, next one, we got 190. Looking at my chart, that falls between 169 and 196. So my square root of 169 and my square root of 196. The square root of 169 is 13. The square root of 196 is 14. So I know that my whole number value is 13. I'm going to find my halfway mark between 169 and 196. Maybe I don't even need to look at that because 190 is pretty darn close to 196. So I'm not going to guess 13.9. I'm going to say maybe closer to 13.8. And putting my squiggly equal sign to show that it's about 13.8. Let's look at number 5. Looking at the square root of 7, that falls between 4 and 9. So we've got the square root of 4. We've got the square root of 9. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 9 is 3. So we know that our whole number value is 2. The halfway point between 4 and 9 is 6.5. So 7 is just slightly more than that, just barely. So I'm going to guess around 2.6. And last one, we've got square root of 75, which falls between 64 and 81. So square root of 64, square root of 81, square root of 64 is 8, square root of 81 is 9. So I know my whole number is 8. 75 is closer to 81 than it is to 64. Let's think about what that halfway point would be, though. We've got, it would be at 72.5. So 75 is just a little bit more than that. Maybe I'm going to guess about 8.6. And that's it.